Hello, it's another weekly analysis. So, if you think back to what we discussed last week, everything worked out very well. Last week, we talked around this area and we were expecting this candle to be a fake out, and as you can see, it was a beautiful fake out. And our confirmation for the fake out was this candlestick formation that is called a trail runner. Gold likes to have a lot of trail runners and they are always successful, and most of the time actually. And if we look at this area, this was a trail runner, right? If you can see that, and it went all the way up. If you can see that, I'm sure you can. This was our trail runner. Price came all the way down. It's a very successful candlestick formation, candlestick pattern, and it works pretty well if you know how to trade it. All right, so this was our analysis from last week. So what we are going to do, we are just going to remove let's remove just a few that are necessary, because some are pretty important and we don't have to keep writing them. So we will remove the ones that we don't need for now, right? So we are going to start on the monthly time frame. There's just something that's pretty important and I would like all of you to keep that in mind. So if you look at the monthly time frame, please notice how price hit our order block area. It might have missed it by a few pips, but it reached out to our order block area, right? And then if you look to our left, so our left, we could say this was our high, right? And then price created a low around here, and then it went all the way to retest our order block area, right? So if price went all the way to retest our order block area and then it got rejected pretty hard, we need to put this high on the monthly time frame, and then we need to highlight it as a monthly high. All right, so we just need to highlight that as in keep not, let's just say it's a monthly zone, monthly level. All right, just keep note of that area. So if price wants to go higher, it has to close above that area. If price wants to go lower, it has to stay below that area. All right, so we have noticed this area from the monthly time frame, right? So if price is rejecting it, how many months now of it rejecting? One, we have two, we have three, and we have four of price rejecting that area, right? This is the fifth month that we're in. If price keeps rejecting that area and if it stays below that area, then we will pretty much see price drop, right? That's what we're expecting, at least for this week fill. All right, so on the monthly time frame for this week, we're now looking at price. We need to see it make a significant change. We need something bigger than this, because this could just be a retest. Remember from last week we were expecting 4. This could be just 4 in price to go higher. It might just be retesting for it to go higher. All right, let's go on our weekly time frame. Now weekly time frame, now this is where things get interesting. Price reached out, it got rejected, right? Last week candlestick closed pretty bearish, right? Very strong bearish candle. However, it wasn't below our area. So if this candle that's printing right now, this is our this week's candle, and the opening today is only Monday, is already made this pretty much big four. So does that mean price could be trying to retest? Now that's a very important question, because price could just be trying to retest for it to go higher. So let's put a level on this low. There is a low right here. Remember, this is the low that we put last week. We are just keeping it because it is something to keep in mind. All right, so this is a low that we're now watching. Is price trying to reach this low, or what area around this area is trying to reach? All right, so considering how price is already moved and it's only a Monday, I'm not going to bother with last week's candle by placing the high or the low. This is last week's candle by placing the high or the low, because price has already made quite a big move. And looking at the time for the session, it's already New York, and London session should be closing in 15 minutes. So it's unnecessary. Nothing major will happen from this moment. So we have to work with the information that we already have now. So we need to move on the daily time frame, right? On the daily time frame. Now remember, this can cut through candles because we're just watching this on the monthly time frame. This zone right here, this is a monthly zone. That's the zone that's telling us if price stays above, it's gonna go high. If price stays below, it's gonna go lower, right? So now on the daily time frame, we need to look for our previous breakout, because if price is dropping all this way, where is it going to reach? Where is the previous breakout that it might be trying to retest? Or where is our nearest support or resistance, right? So having that in mind, let's adjust the zone that we put on the weekly time frame. We are going to put it right here, because for price to go lower, it has to break this area of interest, right? So we're going to put it right here. So that's our this is the last bearish candle that price hit, right? The last bearish candle. So if this is the last bearish candle before the big bullish move, this is the big bullish move, and this is our last bearish candle, that means this area becomes our order block area for price to go higher, if it is to go higher. All right, that's one thing. So we have an order block around that area. Is highlight order block area. Did we save that? Okay. All right, order block area. So we need to keep that in mind. So if this is our order block area, then possibly this move right here, the move that we have right here, have potential of coming all the way here, maybe give us some sort, and then reverse. Because now remember what we talked about in the order block video, price we might want to get into this area, right, and do the 50%, let's say 61.8% retracement. Okay, and where is our 50%? Our 50% is around this area, 50% of that candlestick. That's why I said in the order block area, fibs is very easy to use with your head the moment you understand how it all works, because 50% is just 50% of the candle. So from 50%, if you know where 50% of your candle is, you know where 61, 68%, and then the 72%. So basically, this is the area that we need to be watching out for. So just going to reduce this right there, order block area. All right, this is just on the daily time frame. Right, looking at the daily time frame, if we were to count our Elliot waves, what can we expect? We could say maybe this is our our refined 1, 2, possibly 3. Could this be 4 for it to go higher? All right, so if we're counting Elliot waves, this is what price is telling us. So if we think that's what would be, or that's what could be happening, I will allow us to highlight this area as 1. All right, so it's just to keep in mind that there could be something around this area. If we see price rejecting this area, with some significance, then we know why it's rejecting this area. So let's just say wave 1, right? And if that's 1, then price needs to at least reject around this area for it to go higher. If it doesn't reject, let's say this candle comes to close below, right, then that's invalidating our analysis. But if it never closes below, and let's say maybe it wicks into 1, we could accept that because it could be trying to get into this order block for it to go higher. And since this is the higher time frame, we need to see how or what it does in this area for it to go higher. All right, and then we move on to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we have a high right here, or with a low right here. So if we have a low right there, then we need to highlight that. All right, we have a low right here. So for price to go lower, it needs to break this low, and we have very good clean traffic to reach our order block. That's what makes the order block even more interesting, because for price to get to our order block, it has to pass through this clean traffic, which gives price high chances of actually reaching it, because there is nothing in this area stopping it, and it's actually a very long distance. And if there was nothing around this area, price might just run through it, right, to hit our order block and then reject. So we will be watching this area very closely, right? This area and this area around here also very closely, right? So what you want right now is price has already made the move that we wanted. Remember, we talked about this whole move on last week. If you want to see that, please visit our last week's analysis. We talked about this move last week. All right, so what's interesting is, look at this. We have 1, right? We have 2, and we have 3, right? We have 1, we have 2, and we have 3. All right, so if we have 3 already, that means price could want to reject from this area, unless if this is 1 and this is 2, then we have some consolidation that needs to be done around this area for price to give us our 3 for it to go higher. All right, so this is what could happen. This is the potential of what could happen. So for this week, we want to see if price can reject this area. If it does reject this area, then the next area that price needs to come is at least to retest around this area, or actually at least retest this area, because keep not monthly level, monthly area of interest, so many months has rejected this area. So if it dropped the way it has, it needs to come back to retest for it to go lower to our target. So that's our potential weekly trade, right? And then from there we could see price going higher, right? But then since it's already a Monday and price is already giving us the move, one of the moves, all right, so the rest of the week could be a little bit slower than the previous week. However, the analysis is still the same. If price can reject this area, you want to enter sales when it retests this area, right? The first target being this low still, and then second target being this low. All right, if price gives you a buying signal around this area, then buy it all the way to our monthly level, because that level is very important. And if that level is very important, price will want to retest it. So you don't have to pressure yourself to enter a trade at this moment. Be patient, wait for price to give you at least a 4-hour confirmation that price could be aiming to retest before it goes lower, or if it's gonna go higher, or if it's gonna go lower, because remember we said monthly has to close below this level for it to keep on going high. But if our monthly candle closes above this candle, then price is going to want to go higher. All right. Next week should be a new month, so this week is going to be very important, because this week is going to determine if price is going to go higher or if price is going to go lower. All right. So if you really want to trade this week, watch out for this level and trade accordingly. If price comes above this level and you close with a 4-hour candle above this level, then you would see price go higher. But if price comes back to retest and then it stays below, then price is gonna go high, it's gonna go lower. All right, so 4-hour candle or daily candle to confirm if price wants to go higher or if it wants to go lower. All right, so those are the levels that you should be watching out for this week, and things that you should be taking note of. Right, we can quickly touch the 1-hour candle, the 1-hour time frame. See if there's anything interesting. There is nothing interesting because price is already at the low, and if we look to our left, there is nothing to our left. That's why we ended on the 4-hour time frame. This is where the action is. So these are the important levels on the 4-hour time frames, and I would say if you're patient, you got this. All right, so that's it for this week. I hope you all learned something, and any questions, please feel free to ask us. That's all. Remember, this level is very important.